Gunn is unapologetic. He goes all in with this jor-el thing that people have a problem with. I put in like 3 confirmations, like people, I'm putting it in there like 3 times in the movie so that you see that, yes, this was a real video.
Well, that's what I thought. I mean,
right, yeah. But that's fine. That's fine.
I'm not watching the movie for jor-el.
Yeah.
I'm not a jor-el fan.
If I have to choose whether I get a more realistic version of the Kents or of the Els, I'm taking the Kents.
But you're losing the jor-el to put Superman, to make him more Superman.
Without that plot line in the story, it's not even half as powerful.
It doesn't hit as hard.
I think that Supergirl will be able to shed some light.
She'll confirm it.
Listen, they were all a bunch of assholes.
Well, they were even worse than you think. They were racist.
You should have seen what was going on Krypton.
I'm glad it's gone. I ordered a new Superman shirt. My ass.
I'm going to get one.
I don't know if you liked one. And I got a sweatshirt too.
Oh, yeah? No, I'm going to get one with the new S, but I just got to find one I like. I like the distressed look, so I'm going to try to find one.
You matches you.
That's just my whole thing. I have a whole thing.
That's your look.
It's my thing. Distressed, right. It's my whole aura. Very distressed aura. My aura is distressed. Like someone
looks at those bars, those colored bars.
Test pattern aura.
The Unchosen Ones.
So I did it again with the, getting in late on things, like the whole Jim Gaffigan thing. Like, I just saw Heat.
Heat? I saw that 6 years ago.
I just saw Mindhunter.
Who told you to watch that?
You did.
You're welcome.
Oh my God.
Good, right?
Oh my
Fantastic.
God. I'm disturbed by it in a way that I have to keep, I'm upset that there's only 2 seasons.
Oh yeah, I was too.
It's one of the best written shows I've ever watched.
On par with it's not as good as Breaking Bad, but it's like the writing is kind of on par.
It's not as good as Breaking Bad in terms of because there's a lot of action in Breaking Bad, but the writing,
well written.
I think you're right. I think it is on par with Breaking Bad in terms of just the pure writing.
Yeah.
That scene where Holden is almost going to be killed in the hospital by the big guy.
Yeah.
I have never seen someone more scared shitless in my life. Like, what an actor that guy is. That Grog, Tim, he's the guy from Hamilton. He played King George.
Right.
Yeah. Jonathan Groff. Wow. Guy is phenomenal actor. And I just, even all the things he does that's wrong, because he has a lot of faults, even though he's brilliant. But I wash them away. I say, no, he's right. I sympathize with him greatly. Like, I really do. Yeah, no.
I think, be a problem.
Yeah, might be a problem, right. I think I think everyone should just listen to him.
I mean, it's true, too. It's a true story.
Oh, my God. So, it's based on the 2 guys, who created that whole
genre.
That's what you call it. They invented the serial killer terminology.
Right.
I can't recommend that show highly enough. I'm very upset that I only have 1 season left to watch.
Oh, I think I caught it during COVID, and even during that, people were pissed. They wanted
I caught some other things during COVID.
Yeah, I did not. It's the only thing I caught during COVID. Right. Why does a show like that get canceled?
Dude, I don't know. It's crazy, and don't tell me it cost a lot. It's just people in rooms talking.
It costs more than anything else they put on.
No, this show costs more than Mindhunter.
Right.
It's just people in rooms talking. There's no special effects. There's nothing.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff on there that's horrible.
Right.
It costs a lot more
money.
And it costs
a lot of money, yeah. Look, I mean, who costs a lot of money?
His name? I mean, take away 1 director's cut. What's that show called? I don't even know the name anymore.
Rebel Moon?
Rebel Moon. Take the 3rd Rebel Moon off.
You could have got 12 seasons of Mindhunter for one Rebel Moon movie.
Garbage.
Oh, your Snyder Light's not on.
Oh, it's out like the Snyderverse. Gone.
I think you've been holding on to that joke
for years. Been waiting for my time.
We got to go over our final words on Superman.
And we didn't say we saw it in IMAX at that point.
Because we hadn't seen it yet, I don't think. The full IMAX version, if you have any chance to see this movie in actual full-scale IMAX, take it. There are not a lot of those theaters around the country, but if you do have one, take it, because it was like a religious experience, especially when the S comes up on the screen. It made me feel like a kid again. Cool. That was so cool. Just like right in your face. Yeah. And you feel like it's all around you.
It's expensive, but it's worth it.
Oh my God. It was like what?
It's not that much more. $30?
$30 a ticket.
Which
I mean, you can get to near that price in regular theaters as well.
But you're not seeing that many.
If you select like the dine-in ones with the special seats and stuff like that, those are up near $30. Yeah. This is actually worth it. Oh, this is actually because you get an actual different experience. Right. So of all the great things that this movie has been doing for the character, it's also been affecting the real world as well. There's been a 500% surge in dog adoption interest because of Crypto, the scene stealer. Yeah. I think it'll lead to more good than bad. Like,
there's always going to be people who don't realize what a chore it is, and money wise and time wise.
There will be people who get in over their head, but I think for the most part, most people will get. Even the people that will get in over the head, the most of them will be like, well. We're in it now. We're in it now. We bought the food. We bought the bowl. We bought all the stuff. We got the shots. It was expensive.
It doesn't fly.
Return it.
This one's broken.
Doesn't fly.
It's not powers.
But that's great. That's it. Because Crypto, and how ironic, because it's not even a real dog. But it's just he was amazing.
How many people do you think don't realize it wasn't a real dog? Good percentage.
I've spoken to a few that didn't know it was a real dog. Yeah. I mean, it's so realistic.
You would know.
The CGI is unbelievable. The effects in this movie overall are just great. I don't know how anyone could say that this is not the best special effects Superman movie we've ever seen.
Yeah, 100%.
Has all the
accoutrements.
Yeah, accoutrement. Spell accoutrement.
Accoutrement.
I'll accept that.
Close enough.
I'd like, and also, I don't think I have a very big bone to pick.
No.
With the world.
You?
Yeah, I do. So, I keep bones to pick in a area in my brain. I am not getting enough credit. I'm not getting enough credit.
For what?
What did I say about what is the absolute quintessential attribute that makes Superman Superman?
Okay? How hard he can punch.
Okay.
Nope.
The gaslighting has got to stop. Okay. Just got to stop with the gaslighting. Okay. I said, you show how powerful he really is, and then you bring the humanity into that through his choices. His what?
Action.
Choices that make him Superman.
I've heard that.
No, you haven't. I'm the first one to ever say it. I said it, and that is what this whole movie is based around. That one thing, that it is his choices that make him who he is. It's not about anything else. It's not about if he's weak or if he can die in a bed of heart failure.
Well, you're also bitching about him getting nerfed.
Yes.
And he did get nerfed.
No, he didn't get nerfed in this. No? He did not. No, because the guy he fought was super powered like him.
Yeah.
No one else beat him up besides Ultraman.
No.
Who else beat him up? Nobody.
No, just Ultraman.
No, just Ultraman. Yeah. So there was a good reason for, James Gunn, when he was saying all that stuff, like this Superman is vulnerable, he should have said, like, there's good reason for why this Superman is losing a fight.
You don't want to give anything away.
I guess you want to say anything, but there is good reason for why he's losing a fight. It's the first time he's ever lost a fight. I like that they put that in the crawl in the beginning.
That wasn't in the beginning.
I heard that. I heard that. Is that confirmed?
Yeah, I heard him talk about it.
He said it. Okay.
He didn't have it in, and people didn't understand what was going on.
Well, that's what test screenings do. That's the value of test screenings.
He said Star Wars was the
inspiration for it. Yeah, I think the crawl was great. Yeah. I think it added to the film. And I think it's cool that it said that this is the first time he's lost a fight because, like we said with Pattinson in Batman, he has not been Superman for that long. Right. This is the first time he's come up against anyone that has his power level. Right. So, he's fighting Ultraman or Bizarro, whoever this is going to end up being. I think he's going to end up being Bizarro. And there's all the reason in the world for why he was losing this fight, because just like with Tony and Cap in Civil War, basically Tony scans Cap and he knows every punch that's coming. That's exactly like this. Luthor had all his fight choreography down because he was a real supervillain in this. And he was able to actually use his intelligence in a way where he could beat Superman in a fight.
How do you make him a supervillain if he's not incredibly smart? He can't be as strong as him.
He had world-threatening intelligence in this movie. He was like a real threat to the world.
Is he better than Rosenbaum?
That's hard. I still say Rosenbaum is better.
Yeah.
just because I love his demeanor, and you can't duplicate that.
He might be able to overtake him in a couple of movies.
Yeah, because he's just starting. Rosenbaum had many years as Lex Luthor. But yeah, you actually took Lex Luthor not just as a guy who was going after real estate schemes, which they ended up doing anyway, which was great.
But in a more evil way.
It always boils down to him wanting land, which was fantastic. I like that they threw that in there. But yeah, he really gave you the super villain persona of Lex, like the one from the animated series. He really brought that to life in this. And Gunn went full comic book in this. Full comic book. And they say, never go full comic book.
Well, if you watch The Guardians, he does it the same way there.
Right.
Does.
Well, the last person to go full comic book was, I think, Joel Schumacher, right? For the Batman films.
Maybe he overshot full comic book.
You could say he was successful with Batman Forever, because people liked Batman Forever when it came out. But then, Batman and Robin was a colossal failure. Like really, really bad. Because people, and then that brought back, the serious take on Batman with Christopher Nolan.
Right.
So GG5 brought up a good point that this Superman probably wouldn't be received like this if it was the first Superman after Superman Returns. Most likely.
Maybe.
Most likely wouldn't be received like this because we were all just really wanting that hopefulness.
Because Man of Steel took it so far
one
way.
We were craving it so hard.
It's a pendulum.
Yeah, I mean, timing is everything.
Yeah.
Timing's everything in life.
But it's a great movie. I think it would do well at any
It
time.
is.
It's a great movie.
It's the best Superman movie.
Forget how it looks. The plot, it's great.
It's the best Superman movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Easily. There's no way I could put another Superman movie above this.
It's my favorite comic book movie of all time.
Yeah, that's saying something. I can't really argue with that.
It's like
point
1A, 1B with Watchmen.
With Watchmen. Right.
Because Watchmen's great too.
Watchmen is great.
Yeah, but I love this.
Giving your boy some credit there.
I said Watchmen. I didn't say any names.
Well,
I don't remember who directed it.
That's not fair. That is not fair. He directed that shit out of that movie. He was the only one that could have done it like that too.
Yeah.
If you're not going to buy into going full comic book with this, then you're going to have a miserable time watching these movies, and just bow out now because you're not going to like any of them. But if you like comic books and you like the animated series, this is a dream come true.
And he's going to use lesser known characters, so he's got a little bit more room to work with.
When he's going full comic book like this, you have now the carte blanche to pull in anyone you want, even the craziest story. I mean, they literally just did Crypto successfully. That means the world is your oyster. You can go into the annals of DC, pick out the most obscure character that you've ever seen. They can bring in the Challengers of the Unknown and make it into like this great epic film because nobody knows anything about them.
People want new stuff.
Yeah,
he wants to do new stuff.
So he's got a lot of alleys, a lot of avenues open to him now because of the success of this.
I'd like to see him do Mr. Mixexoplex.
Mr. Mitzpitalik. You're mispronouncing it as usual. Mr. Mitzpitalik. Yeah, Mr. Yeah, you're not on a first name basis. What's his first name? Chuck Mixpitalik. Gunn is unapologetic, and he's going to keep doing it that way because that's how he gets this material. He goes all in. Mm-hmm. So for better or for worse, he goes all in, and he went all in with this jor-el thing that people have a problem with. Mm-hmm. I at first thought that the jor-el thing was going to be, a misunderstanding or something later. But he came out in this recent interview and he said, like, no, I put in like 3 confirmations, like people, I'm putting it in there like 3 times in the movie so that you see that, yes, this was a real video.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. I mean,
right. And I'm just, like, no, Jor-el, he can't be bad. Right. There's got to be something else, a misunderstanding, but that's fine. That's fine.
I'm not watching the movie for Jor-el.
Yeah.
I'm not a Jor-el fan.
If I have to choose whether I get a more realistic version of the Kents or of the L's, I'm taking the Kents.
But you're losing the Jor-el to put Superman, to make him more Superman.
Without that plot line in the story, it's not even half as powerful of a film. It doesn't hit as hard at all because it's a very important part of the film of how he finds out who he is. Right. Yeah, his choices, again, back to the choices.
That was the only way you could really do it like that.
The movie really hinged on that. And if you're going to have, so you're going to have an alien race that sees us as, a bunch of ants
Right.
or whatever, which I don't think that's really out of
realistic.
bounds for an alien race to look at us and say, these people are easy. He probably didn't mean it in a really like insulting way.
No, it's
He's just like,
yeah.
hey, go over
That's
there.
what they do.
Yeah, go, you'll take them over easy.
Right.
You know, make a bunch of Kryptonians.
Right.
You know, maybe the word harem in Kryptonian is not as insulting.
Maybe it is.
Or maybe he doesn't care, right? I think that Supergirl will be able to shed some light.
I don't know how old he's going to make
Aunt
her.
and uncle, right? Maybe she'll tell Superman that like
Maybe she'll confirm it.
Listen, they were all a bunch of assholes.
Well, they were even worse than you think. They were racist.
You should have seen what was going on Krypton.
I'm glad it's gone.
She seems like that type too. Yeah. So happy it's gone. I'm so happy I'm here. Much better party scene on Earth.
You know, Gunn said, I was listening to an interview that Lobo is amazing. He said he does an amazing job.
No, he's going to be amazing. Yeah.
But he confirmed it.
He was born to be Lobo, even more than Aquaman.
Yeah.
This guy, Jason Momoa is going to kill it. It's just going to be as natural as Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane.
He's just going to be himself in blue.
Basically.
In blue paint, I think.
In white. He's white.
Oh, he's white? I thought he was blue.
Lobo's skin?
Yeah.
Lobo's skin is white.
Really?
How is it blue?
White.
How is it
Say white?
White. White.
Where are you from? White. It's all blue.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip? Cool Whip, yeah. You mean Cool Whip? Yeah, Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip.
For all the people saying that this film is, they want the more realistic tone, that's fine. But if you're talking about the essence of Superman, I don't think we've ever seen a more, quote unquote, realistic in terms of who the character is in the comics and in the cartoons, from the gold and silver age. This represents Superman better than I've ever seen him on screen.
It is a comic book, so if it's comic booky,
this is the big blue Boy Scout brought to life. He's really that guy in this. He was never this much of the big blue Boy Scout. He's the aw shucks kind of guy. The very last after credit scene that people just discount and say, "Oh, that was nothing." It's not nothing. It showed even more his personality. It gave us even little more. I think we know this Superman even better than we knew the Christopher Reeve Superman. Who the guy is.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Like we know this guy. I feel like we know him.
Yeah, because he's shown like vulnerabilities.
Yeah,
he didn't show that in the first Superman.
Right, like calling, I'm such a jerk. Like he's going to think about that all week long, that he made Mr. Terrific feel bad. He's going to think about that all the time. I can relate to that.
Sure.
You make a mistake in life and you just think about it over and over again. Right.
That's something no one else even is thinking about, but you're thinking about it.
Right. Yeah. Mr. Terrific get over it in 2 seconds. but Superman's going to think about that all week, that he made that mistake.
He saved the squirrel.
Yeah, he said that was fantastic.
Which he said
the squirrel.
he wanted to cut it out, but they said keep it in. People thought it was stupid.
No, I'm glad.
Was that too much? No, that's perfect.
No, it's not perfect. Not too much.
He spent the whole movie just trying to save things.
Mm-hmm. He saved a lot of people in this. He tried to save damage from happening.
They evacuated before things came down.
He tried to stop things from hitting buildings. And the part with the kid raising the flag, wow, I know you knew that was going to be like a powerful part from the trailers, like the kid raising the flag, but I didn't know it was going to be so integral to just the essence of Superman. Maybe his greatest power is just his inspiration, because there was no way Superman was going to be able to save that kid. You knew watching it at that point in the movie. There's no way Superman's going to be able to save him. He's in Metropolis. He's fighting Ultraman right now. He's not going to be able to be there in time. But it was his inspiration to the other members of the Justice Gang. They saw that. They saw that flag go up, and all of a sudden they felt like they got it. It's like it clicked in their head. Like, oh, this is what he is. This is what he stands for.
Right.
This is why he's important. Right. The Hawkgirl and even Guy Gardner. They were like, "Well, we get it." Like it all clicked. And they're the ones that showed up, and they were inspired by Superman to just hold themselves to a higher level. And I think you kind of walked out of the theater with like a goodie bag of like. Like you're like the Grinch. Your heart grew like 3 more times at walking out of that theater. Like you wanted to be polite to people for like 48 hours.
It didn't last long. I was right back at it. Because then you go see people, and then ruins that.
People zap that out of you real quick. Yeah. But you kind of left the theater like I never felt so uplifted watching a movie like that. Like, that's his essence, and you can you can't fly, you don't have super strength or heat vision, but you can take that with you. You know.
You felt good. I never felt good coming out of a theater in a long time.
You've never felt good coming out of anywhere in a long time.
I have to go see that every time I want to feel good now.
It's like a prescription. Like a doctor should write that, and you should be able to go see the movie for free. It was nice. It was nice to see Superman be Superman. The one I grew. I mean, hey, everyone has their version. This is the one we grew up with. Man.
That's the one everyone grew up with until
it was made into a more serious tone. But that was you can't fault Snyder completely, because that was the way things were. You had Christopher Nolan doing all that success with Batman.
It's a different
that's what
character.
people wanted to see. They wanted to see a more realistic tone with Superman. He gave it to you. He definitely did that. He gave you a more realistic, ground, down to earth tone with Superman. And I think it was really well done in certain parts, not so much. But it didn't work fully commercially. Like some of the movies made a decent amount of money, but they were not well received critically. People did not like them. They did well money on some of them, but people were not feeling it. Right. So now you have the opposite.
Now they're picking at things because it was so good.
Yeah. Well,
there
are people out there that just cannot accept the fact that this movie is doing well.
It's review and money.
Yeah. And then also the reviews. And then you get people trying to say, oh, well, you can't take Rotten Tomatoes as a source. I'm like, well, yes, you can. Rotten Tomatoes is an aggregator. They bring a lot of reviews that they copy from their individual websites and publications. It's not like Rotten Tomatoes is writing the review. They're just bringing them together.
They take it as a source when things get bad reviews.
Yeah.
And they want to say that's bad.
Then it's a qualified source.
Right. For the Acolyte, it's a qualified source.
Right. Yeah. For the Acolyte, Rotten Tomatoes is 100% the gold standard. Right. If you're talking about the Acolyte. But now we're talking about Superman. Yeah, and Ironheart. Yeah. But if we're talking about Superman, you can't trust that. You can't trust Rotten Tomatoes.
Because it doesn't support my...
I mean, I don't bother with the audience review too much anyway, because I know how much that can be skewed by people and the review bombing and all that crap.
Yeah. Listen, I saw it. I was in the theater with people clapping, so I know it was good.
Yeah, I mean, there were people just cheering for it, clapping in multiple screenings that we saw. Yeah. I think I do want to see it in 3D, just so I get to see...
The teeth.
Yeah, I want to see the teeth fly at me. I got to see the teeth fly at me. He had to have pulled back on that punch.
Sure.
Because that's a guy.
That's a guy.
That's not a superpower
guy. In Lex's armor.
Yeah, but his jaw was exposed, right? Or did he punch through a mask?
I mean, it knocked his teeth out.
So he still had to pull back because the head would have flew off.
Yeah.
At full power, the head flies off.
Yeah, he might have a concussion.
At full power, it's a Snyder cut, right? Yeah, they're all going to have concussions.
Brain damage.
So he definitely was pulling back on that punch. But that was a guy taking a punch from Superman. Right.
Those were just early, suits that Lex will probably be in at some point.
Right. And then, Superman did, in this movie, he did kill someone. He thinks he did, Well, he threw Ultraman into a black hole. For all he knows, that was his death. Yeah. Right? Well, which brings to the point, though. That brings to the point that it's not about Superman having a no-kill rule. He doesn't have a no-kill rule in the comics. That was never something that was like a rule, a line that you couldn't cross. It's his line that he doesn't want to cross. It was about how Snyder did it. There were other options with Zod. All right. He could have moved his head out of the way. He could have put his hand over his eyes. There were options. It's not about that he killed Zod. It's about that he just did it with a million other options at his disposal.
First choice was snap his neck. That was first choice.
I think that's the problem, is that he just snapped his neck.
It was jarring. It was jarring.
It was a little jarring, right? But even Snyder's own logic with that, with like Batman should kill people, otherwise you're making your god irrelevant. That's what he said. That has a huge plot hole. Right. A huge plot hole, right? What's the huge plot hole in Snyder saying that you have to have these heroes kill people?
Why is Joker still alive?
Why is Joker breathing then? Right.
You just killed 20 nobodies and you let the biggest serial killer.
In Batman vs. Superman, he annihilates an entire warehouse full of people, right? And even go back to Tim Burton's, Batman. He also bombed an entire warehouse full of henchmen and killed them, right? But then he tries to save Joker at the end. And why is Jared Leto's Joker breathing and walking around if he so easily kills these people? Right. Why give him the chance to come back and escape jail and hurt more people if that's his edict, is that you have to erase these criminals when you have the chance. Right. So that doesn't hold water, his whole thing there, right? Joker shouldn't be alive in Snyder's universe.
Right. Why isn't Joker's neck snapped?
Yeah, especially since he killed Robin, He killed Robin and he's just standing up there looking at his bombed costume, right? Why is he walking around then?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
It makes no sense. No. So Snyder has a plot hole in his own ideology. Right. In this movie, He literally had to dislocate his shoulder.
He hurt himself.
He had to hurt himself to get him to smack him into that what is a built thing of concrete or whatever. Yeah. Something was coming. Something was coming the other way, and he flew him into the black hole. So as far as Corenswet Superman knows, that is the end of him. Right. That's fine. That was a necessity at the moment. There's nothing else he could have done. Right. He had no other options at that point. And besides, I think that guy's going to end up being Bizarro.
They asked him about it, Gunn, and he kind of skirted around the question.
Oh yeah.
So it sounded like
when he's emphatic about something, like he was about jor-el, he goes, "No, that's how they are." But when he's like playing around,
he skirts around the question.
He skirts around it, right? Because all those things that were flowing into the black hole, cubes. Right? Yeah, cubes, all that matter, it's going to form the cube world where Bizarro is from. Because he had that stupid look on his face, which Corenswet, good acting. He could just do stupid with a look.
Juilliard.
Yeah, Juilliard, right. They must have had like full list. All right, today we're doing stupid. And we're just going to spend an hour on stupid looks.
Got it.
Got you. Nailed it. You're dismissed. Corenswet, you're dismissed.
Another thing people are getting wrong about this film is his parents and how they had like that Midwest representation.
The Kents.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like that kind of hillbilly.
It's just, you just cannot, there's just no limit to how absolutely misinformed people can be in this day and age, right? Saying that the Kents are they're saying that they're a caricature of Midwestern people. Right. Yeah. Meanwhile, dumbasses, they're based on two living, breathing people, right? Richard Christie's parents, Richard Christie from the Howard Stern show, right?
And they couldn't be more similar.
Yeah.
They actually smartened it up a little bit, if you ask me.
Richard Christie's parent, Richard Christie from the Howard Stern show, if you're not familiar, Richard Christie is a longtime writer on the Howard Stern show and a big part of the show.
Phony phone caller.
Yeah, phony phone caller. And his parent, he apparently has some relationship with James Gunn.
He met him during Trauma because Richard Christie worked for the head of Trauma.
Oh, the Trauma
as like
movies,
an assistant.
Right.
And they met during that and they kind of just became friends.
Right. Yeah. So he called up Richard and said, I want to base the Kents on your parents.
Right. He had him send him like videotapes of them. And he listens to the show. So
right. He's a big,
so
Gunn is a big Howard Stern fan and Howard plays Richard Christie's parents. They leave him a lot of voicemails, and they're funny voicemails. Hey Richard, this is your dad. We just got some roadkill. These are real people. These are real people, and they're fun. They're the most loving people you've ever heard in your life.
Not bigoted people.
No, they love their son so much. And they leave him all these voicemails all the time, and Howard plays them on the air. And Gunn thinks they're great, so he decided to give these tapes to the two actors playing the Kents, and they studied them. They studied them. So you cannot say that these are not representation of people who live in Kansas. They're literally real people who live in Kansas and have lived there their whole lives.
Yeah. James reached out to me, and he wanted authentic Kansan accents for Ma and Pa Kent. So he asked that my parents could call and leave him voicemails.
Hi, James. This is Richard's mom.
Hi, James. This is Richard's dad. Kansas, we hunt, we fish, we eat roadkill.
Hey, Clark. This is your dad. We just ate crypto. He tastes real good.
Yeah.
I just get society. I need to take a break from society. Can I live in that pocket universe where Lex made that looked like a nice place?
Yeah, very quiet.
Very quiet.
No people around.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
I'd like to get how much for one of those cubes?
It's probably a ton of money now. Inflation.
Even there?
Yeah. $2,000 a month for a cube.
A corner cube, probably big bucks for the corner cube.
Oh, you
can't. No, those are taken. There's a waiting list for the corner cubes. 100%.
You're not getting a corner cube. You think you're running into Kevin Costner in the Midwest more than them? Really?
Right. I mean,
there's both sides, but I mean, come on.
These were real people. These are real people. They did an amazing job with the Kents. That speech that Jonathan gives to Clark is the best that's the best father-son Superman dad speech that's ever been given. Again, his choices, right? What did I say? Right?
Well, he didn't tell him to choose to let people die.
That was not one of the choices. That was not D.
That was not a choice.
Yeah, that was not D. Let people die. That was not on there. Not on the Scantron of choices you can make. Right?
D. Let everyone die.
Yeah, and instead of the world, you owe the world nothing, save it or don't. Instead, I'll go get your boots.
Right, yeah.
That's
Go get them.
Yeah, that's my
Right,
Kent. Right, exactly.
Yeah, you have a responsibility. You
Yeah,
have
go ahead,
powers.
get the hell out
Go
there.
save
Right,
people.
right. Go save people.
right.
What are you doing? I'm going to get your boots. Get the hell out of here. Right. Not mope around and decide whether you're going to go to therapy and to save people.
Emo Superman.
Yeah. There people always
Come on,
say that.
You don't hate that movie? Come with me. Come over here. Come over to the side. Come on.
Well, that was Batman vs Superman, and I do not like that movie for the most part.
That's a horrible movie.
I left very I didn't like that movie. No, Trash Panda.
Yeah.
It's worse. It's so much worse.
That is a trash panda of a movie.
No, that's one of my least favorite movies. I like Man of Steel a lot more. There are parts of Batman Superman that I like a lot. There are a lot parts I don't like.
The credits.
And, love the credits. And then Justice League, I like even both versions. I like both versions of Justice League.
I mean, the second one's much better.
The Snyder cut is much better. Yeah, but I like both. I watch them both. But Batman Superman is my least favorite. So, and staying with James Gunn just for another minute here, I just this thing that came up where he talks about the Infinity Stones. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I knew there were Infinity Stones when they said, we've been thinking, and we think that maybe some of these things have been Infinity Stones in different ways. And so could you write up what the Infinity Stones mean? When I wrote the scene with the Collector, explaining that, there was this explosion and then the Infinity Stones were born and what they mean and where they came from, that was literally me just sitting down for 3 minutes and writing that. And that's then what became the rest of the Infinity Stones. There was never anybody that said anything other than, I think, the red thing and the blue thing are going to end up being Infinity Stones.
I mean,
it's
people
wild.
always, it's wild because, people always give, they don't want to give credit to Disney for the entire Infinity Saga.
Right.
They want to say, though, that was all pre-planned. Right. No, it wasn't.
There were no plans.
There were no plans. Up until Guardians of the Galaxy, they had no plans for these Infinity Stones.
There wasn't a story in the comics about where the Infinity Stones came from?
No, there's a big, long Infinity saga, of course. Yeah, but it's very different from what you saw in the movies, because in the comics, it's about death. Literally death.
Yeah.
Death from Agatha.
Right.
The embodiment of death. Right. It's about him trying to impress her. It's a whole nother.
But the origin of the stones?
No, the cosmic cube or the tesseract is not the space stone.
Right. So they weren't building towards anything.
Not until then. That was the fork in the road there.
Right.
Yeah, they even decided later that stone would become purple. The power stone would be purple. Up until then, it was red.
Right, they had to change it.
Yeah, they had to change it back to purple because they knew, we're going to make the ether, the reality stone. One. That's going to be red. So they had to go back and recolor the Infinity Stone in Guardians to purple because they figured it all out right there and then. So much for this grand plan. Yeah. And thanks Disney for hiring James Gunn and putting him in position to make the Infinity Saga work. And thanks Kathleen Kennedy just to put a little icing on top.
She called him to congratulate him.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, they must know each
nice.
other.
Okay. Yeah, because she's a classy person, unlike the people out there that give her all the crap. Yeah.
So he's basically responsible for everything good in the comic book universe.
Yes. So basically, James Gunn's responsible for the Infinity Saga working.
He's comic book Jesus.
Yeah.
Is what he is.
So now all he has to do is something with Ryan Reynolds, who is Marvel Jesus.
They've spoken about
come together and do something.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to something that's less controversial, Ironheart.
Oh, good. Nothing to see here.
But I put up a post about this. It seems to me that there's a little bit of a pattern that evolves. No pattern, right? Yeah, where the female characters do not get as much development leeway as a lot of male characters do that start out as not as much of the hero as they end up being. Tony Stark, total douchebag in the beginning, a warmonger, womanizer, alcoholic, right? Not a bad guy when you met him, but not doing great things for the planet.
Not a Boy Scout.
Yeah, not a boy, or not doing
not
things.
Superman.
No, not a good guy, right? But everyone knows that is his arc. That's what makes it so great. Is he goes from one place and gets to another. Right. That's the journey.
The climb up.
Yeah, that's the hero's journey. Yeah. That's fantastic. That you watch for that. That's like the thing you watch for. But it seems to be with people like Captain Marvel, right? she was a Mary Sue out of the gate. Like, oh, she's perfect. She got labeled that. I don't think she was. I think she had faults in that movie. She was not a flawless character. No. You know, she was arrogant.
A bit of an ass.
She was, right. She had arrogance. She thought she knew it all, right? And she had an arc too and development, but she got branded Mary Sue. So either you're a Mary Sue or with Ironheart, you're a villain right out of the gate because there's no patience for her to learn about things. You know, she didn't have, you know, Stark Industries behind her. She's learning it as she goes along. She only has a couple of people in her life. She's dealing with the tragedy of her dad and her best friend dying in front of her. She's not processing that. She's not processing it right at all.
She's not in therapy.
No, she's using her technology in all the wrong ways to avenge that. Yeah, she needs to go through some stuff. Right. It seems that, you know, when she is, I see a lot of people online. They say, "Oh, she doesn't respect Tony Stark." You know, okay, listen, I think you're conflating the character from the writer. I don't think people can separate those anymore.
Well, she's a child, though.
People don't have a lot of ability to see when it's the character saying something that is arrogant or saying something. Because she even got called out on it by the MIT professor.
I want to build something undeniable. I want real life scientific epiphanies. You want me to do homework? I have to explain to my professors. You want me to be small. But I refuse. Riri, that's a hot pile of garbage. Trash, and you know it.
It's like she called her on her bullshit right away. You know, she's a young, arrogant person.
She doesn't have like emotional intelligence yet. Yeah. She's a child.
It's not the writer saying that she's better than Tony Stark. She is saying it. Yeah, and that's something she has to grow into and respect it more. And it will happen. Sure. You just have to have a little bit of patience. Just a little bit.
She's a child. She is a child.
Yeah, when it's immediately met with another character calling her on the bullshit, that's called storytelling. Yeah, but no, people just immediately are attacking her. Yeah, that's part of the story. Yeah,
but that's not why they're attacking her.
Well, I know because they're blinded by something else. Exactly.
They know what they're doing.
Right. They're blinded by something else, and they're not able to really process storytelling. I think a lot of these people.
They can process it fine. I think they know what's going on.
I didn't think that this show was the greatest thing of all time.
No, it was entertaining.
It was entertaining. Yes. It had flaws. It had some awkwardness in the writing. Sure. But for the most part, if you didn't watch this, well, you really missed out, man, because Sacha Baron Cohen.
Great.
Oh man, that was a dream casting. Yeah. That was I mean, years ago I heard that rumor. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that would be perfect. Like I didn't think of it, but when I heard the rumor like years ago, like, oh, you have to have, now that's in my head, I don't want anyone else from Mephisto but Sacha Baron Cohen, because he will be, like, he can do, you know, he has got that snark to him, of course, he's a comedian, but boy, he can get scary real quick.
Sure. Well, comedy is the hardest thing to do. So if you can do comedy, you can probably do anything.
Great comedians are usually 9 times out of 10, a great comedian will be a great dramatic actor.
Robin Williams.
Yeah, Robin Williams is like the gold standard, right? But Sacha Baron Cohen, you knew he could do that evil, that underlying evilness really, really well. And he did. He did it He was actually even a little better than I thought he was going to be. Yeah, he was pretty damn good. So if you don't think that's going to be a big deal in the MCU,
yeah, of course.
I mean, you got to. That's going to be important. You know, you brought magic into it. It actually threw a couple of curveballs in there. I didn't think they were going to go certain ways.
I didn't think she was going to turn up. I didn't think she was going to say yes to him.
Yeah, I know. That was a surprise, right? I thought she was going to say, go screw yourself. No, deal. Yeah. I want my friend back. Yeah, and that's the other thing. She didn't make a deal to enrich herself.
No.
She did it as a selfless thing to bring a loved one back. Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, everything is a little selfish because that will make her happy. Better, but she didn't ask for a lot of money or equipment or resources. Yeah. She brought back a friend, you know, her best friend and an important person to everyone else. That's what she decided to do.
I would have held out for a little more.
Yeah, right. You forget about it. Oh, yeah.
Friend, she's dead. Let's go. Pay up, buddy.
Yeah, you're the epitome of the wrong person to ask that question to.
Would you like to? Yes.
Right. You are a villain, 100%. There's no arc. There's
How dare you? There's an arc. It's not a steep arc.
Yeah. That's your arc. Little one in there.
Yeah. Little side of life.
Girl Scouts. I give to the Girl Scouts. Buy the Thin Mints every year.
They don't know. He says he's given a lot of people those deals. I wonder who else he's given those deals to.
Right. We'll
if
see.
There's anyone. You
I
know.
mean, Mephisto is he's a big deal with Spider-Man. He was a big deal in the Brand New Day storyline. So we'll see if he pops up in there.
It was 6 episodes. It was a short little run.
Yeah.
Was,
I hope we get more of it. It got critic reviews were good.
Well, it went up after the review bombing stopped.
Don't even look at the audience score because it's all tainted. Yeah. But the professional reviews are the professional reviews. These people review things their job. So for the most part, I always take that with more credibility than the other side, because the other side is too easily manipulated.
Yeah. I would give it around a 70% somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
it's better than decent.
That's the problem, is that no one's allowed to have like a 7 out of 10 anymore. That's unacceptable. That's okay. It's entertaining. Did you like it? Did it entertain you?
Are you not entertained?
Who's running a 7 out of 10 in life? I'm not. I'm at a 6 at best. 7 out of 10.
All times.
7 out of 10. Dream of a 7 out of 10.
If your Tuesday is a 7 out of 10, great Tuesday.
I haven't had a 7 out of 10 Tuesday in years.
All right, so no show and tell for our comic time this week, but I do have some interesting news. Interesting news. And one thing that is this might get you to buy your first comic in decades.
No. You want to put money on that?
All right, so we'll start off with CGC is in trouble again.
What'd they do now?
Well, they're doing their first ever exclusive comic book, a comic book that they're putting their name on. They're putting the publishing behind it. It's a DC comic.
Yeah.
All right. It's a Superman comic, a Superman and Crypto comic. Looks kind of cool. It's a reprint of an older comic, Superman number 680. It's going to be available only at San Diego Comic-Con at the CGC booth. Right. Yeah. The problem with this is that you're supposed to be a third-party grading company. Right. And now you're they're giving the comic out for quote-unquote free, right? Yeah. But it's only free if you also purchase grading services.
Oh.
So here's a book.
Right.
Now, if you give it back to us with some money, we'll grade that book.
Oh, wow. That's genius.
Right. See, now that should tell everyone right there that this is not a good idea.
Why did I think of that?
Right.
Are they only giving out 10s too?
They've stopped at that. I guarantee you they'll all be 9/8 or above, though. They're close to that.
Sure.
It will definitely be, you will not get anything but a 9/8. I guarantee you, if you give them this book and some money.
It should be at least free grading. I mean,
no, that's the money.
I know.
See, they're trying to be quote unquote neutral because they're giving you the book for free, but you only get the book if you buy the service with it. Right. So you're not getting it for free. No. And they're putting the book out. So now they're grading their own book. Talk about conflict of interest.
How many are they putting out?
It's a limited amount that they say it's going to be 3,000, I believe. And they're also going to have a special, whatever. They're going to have a special detail on the label that says it's limited to 3,000.
Yeah.
But that's only if you give them the book. Now, you could take the book and just hightail it out of there, and you have a book, and submit it to a different grader, which would be kind of funny.
So
you could do
why
that.
don't they do that?
Because you have to submit something for grading. It doesn't have to be that book. Right. So you could submit something else for grading, take the book, and then submit it to like CBCS or PSA and get it graded by somebody else.
So if you're going to get it graded anyway, another book.
Well, that's what they're enticing. They're enticing you to give it back to them to get it graded by them. But yeah, you could take it and get it graded by somebody else as long as you give CGC a book to grade in order to get the book. But you're still paying CGC to get that book in your hands some way, somehow.
I mean, you're giving it to be graded right away. Shouldn't it be a big number?
Well, it'd have to be because any damage is because they gave it to you damage then, right?
So, they're all going to be high grades.
Yeah, so they should all be 9/8 or above, right? So, but this is, you can't tell me that this is the biggest conflict of interest for a grading company. It's supposed to be a third party. You're supposed to grade the things. You can't also supply the thing you're grading, right?
Never get high on your own supply. Is that same thing?
This is like an umpire, like being, they have a part ownership in the team that they're calling balls and strikes on. I just feel CGC lately is really throwing their credibility to. I mean, people might say they've been doing it for a long time, but I think in the last 2 or 3 years, they really are not keeping a safeguard on their credibility.
They must be in real trouble.
I don't know if they're in trouble and maybe submissions are down and they're just trying to drum up business any way possible.
That's what it sounds like.
Or maybe with a lot of these companies, it's just like, oh, we're not going to beat profits from last year. You know, there's that thing that goes on with corporate entities too. Sure. Whereas just even if we're making a profit, but if it's not more profit than last year, it's a quote unquote failed year. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh, we can never have a year where we make less profit than the year before, or everyone's getting fired. Yeah. You know, that's the corporate mentality now. Mm-hmm. Like a good year is not, a 7 out of 10, like we said. You can't have a 7 out of 10 year.
Got to be last year.
Gotta always be last year. But of course, you know what's going to happen?
Everyone's going to do it.
Of course.
So it's your fault.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
I actually, if I were there, I wouldn't go for this. First of all, I don't really even think the cover is that great. I like the original cover much better, the one they're copying, which is the crypto cover from back when this first came out. That's the book I'd really want over this. But the other thing I thought was interesting is that, and people, I haven't seen a lot about it, is that they finally have DC labels now. They now have Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman DC labels. It finally happened. They finally sat down with somebody at DC, and I don't know what it took to get this to happen.
Maybe DC reached out to them.
I don't know. This has been in the works forever. Everyone's been wanting to have DC labels, and then it finally happens, and no one's talking about it.
Maybe Gunn had something to do with that.
I don't. Who knows? Who knows? So they have the Trinity. They have them available, and you can get them on any DC book you send in.
Is it extra?
Yeah, it's like, it's their normal, whatever it is, like $8 extra for the custom label. So now you can get them on coins as well and cards. They have these available. I'm not going to send anything in that I've already gotten graded for these labels. Maybe something in the future I'll do. I'm not going to rush to do it. But I think it is cool that they finally do have them. And it's like a much to do about nothing. I thought it would be a bigger deal.
You can only get the 3 of them?
So far, it's just Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll expand more. They didn't say it was only for a limited time. So I'm assuming that these will be there for you to get for a good amount of time at least.
You can do it right now?
Retire them. Huh?
You can do it right now?
You can submit it right now. Oh. Yeah, because I went on there on the submission form, and as long as you put in they won't let you put it on like a Marvel book. It's not an option.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, for people that want to just do a lot
Why not?
They want
their business.
They don't want to let you do it. It's not an option.
What do they care?
That's what you'd want to do. See, you're just an agent of chaos. You're just an agent of chaos.
I'm giving them my money. What does it matter what I do with the book?
They don't want. I guess that would hurt their credibility somehow if they have DC labels on Marvel books.
They're going to be. I mean, the grade is on. They're going to be worthless because they're all going to be high grades.
Oh, what, the crypto book?
You can have 3,000 books, all 9 5s or higher.
They
right?
should. No, there's no such thing as 9 5. Wow, what an idiot you are. You just said 9
Am I an idiot?
9 5.
What do they give you?
There's no 9 5. There's no 9 5.
Why isn't there a 9 5?
There is no 9 5.
Why? There's a 9 4.
There's a 9 4
and a 9 6.
Yes.
Why isn't there a 9 5?
Because it goes in increments of 0.2 from 9 to 10.
Not when I have my own thing. Only 10s?
I actually don't like I think it should be 9.
That's lazy.
9 5 10. Yeah, that's how it should be.
No, give me every number.
I think it should be 9 5 then 10. I would get rid of all those little increments because I think it's stupid. You can't tell me that there is you can see a discernible difference between a 9.8, a 9.9, and a 10. I want to see examples of this, right? Because this is the other thing they've gotten in trouble for. They just recently have graded an Ultimate Fallout 4, which is the first appearance of Miles Morales, right? That book is from 2011. There have been about 20,000 copies graded total into CGC. And for the first time, one has just come back a 9.9. There is now one. Yeah. You're telling me out of all those 20,000 books, 10,000 of them, over 10,000 of them have been graded a 9.8.
Yeah.
Signed and unsigned. You're telling me that this 9.9 is better than all 10,000? All 10,000 of those 9.8s have some little defect somewhere that's separated from this 9.9?
Maybe.
Horseshit. Horseshit. Get John Boy on this, because this is absolute horseshit. All right. All of a sudden they put a 9. They're just really they're killing their credibility with this stuff.
You should have to get, like, when someone grades it, you should get, like, their name.
The grader?
The grader's name, and I want their address.
like in a pair of pants, inspected by number 7.
I want to know who did it. And then you could really, hold people accountable.
Right. You could request, like, hey, can you get me number 12. 12 really great stuff. Well, I like number 12. Yeah, but I think this hurts their credibility with this kind of thing. It's like they just throw it out there to increase value on things, to make people maybe resubmit, or maybe crack your 9.8, press it and send it back in. Maybe you'll get a 9.9 because now we're doing 9.9s.
But the whole thing is ridiculous because you don't know. There's no like rules or it's
that's what the thing is. There's no transparency on what notates a 0.1 off or a 0.2 off. There needs to be a guide.
They should have to tell you why they did what they did.
Exactly. And how many points were taken off.
Right.
Yeah, you should get that with every book. Here are the deductions.
Right.
And this is why you have the grade you have.
Why wouldn't they do that?
Because they want to keep it ambiguous. And it's bad for their credibility. It really is. It's bad for the whole grading. Somebody should step up. If you want to take CGC out, do these things. Have the grader's notes show exactly where the deductions are and why. People will flock to you.
Yeah. Well, over at only 10s, we only give 10s. And we'll tell you why.
No need for notes. No notes needed.
Because we love you.
So there have been some set photos released of the Punisher, of John Barenthal as the Punisher on the new series that he's going to be in. And also the Punisher, the real Frank Castle, is finally coming back to comics with a new Red Band series. So it's going to be ultra violent.
Is that what Red Band means?
Yeah, it's going to be for the Marvel. I think DC has something called Black Label.
Yeah.
They have Black Label comics where it's more violent, more adult themed.
So like NC-17?
Right. It's going to be NC-17 Punisher. So this is pretty exciting. People have been waiting for Frank Castle to come back for a while after he was killed. There was this whole story. I didn't read all of them. I had one or two. It was interesting, but I just got busy and I didn't get to read them all. It's where he didn't have the skull anymore. He got brought in by the Hand, that organization with Daredevil. He got brought in by the Hand. He got some kind of immortal powers. They were using him as a pawn. They had to use him. They brought his wife back to life and held that over his head to do their bidding. And then at the end, he had to get sent to the afterlife. He had to get killed, sent to the afterlife. And then there's this other guy who stepped in as the Punisher. But the real Frank Castle now is coming back with the skull, taking it back from the Nazis, taking the skull back from the Nazis. I like it. So that should be pretty exciting. And
you getting it?
I already pre-ordered that one. Yeah, I pre-ordered that one. There's a couple of cool covers out there. I'm getting the cover A, which I always get the cover A. I always like to have that one. And then there's other one with the skull on it, and it's just a mosaic of little covers or little scenes of Frank from other books and things like that, and it forms together to make the skull. Pretty cool looking. So I got one of those as well. And then another thing I'm pre-ordering 100% is this. We already talked about the Deadpool and Batman. There's this variant cover that I just saw got released. The cover of it is actually Batman versus Wolverine. It's a 1-in-25 Steve McNiven variant. And I was looking around trying to get it, and Big Time Collectibles has it for only $15. I've seen other places were selling it for like 30, 40, 50, even I saw like $90 somebody selling it for. So if you want one of these, I don't know if they'll have them by the time this airs, but Big Time Collectibles had them for $15.
1-in-25 means there's 25 copies?
No, how that works is for every 25 that are printed on the run, they're going to print one of these.
Why is everything so complicated with that? Why do they do this?
It's complicated to you.
No, it's
because
ridiculous.
You took remedial math.
I did. I took very high math, I'll have you know. Okay, maybe I took it 3 times, but I passed it.
But that's how
why
it works.
Is everything so convoluted? Why can't they just...
It's just because they're not going to tell you they don't know the print run at the beginning because they don't know what the orders are going to be. Right? So for the comic shop to get one of these to sell you, they have to order at least 25 of them.
Oh, that's why they do it.
Well, yeah. Well, of course it's money. Everything's money. So for a comic shop to get one of these, they'll get one of these for every 25. So if a comic shop orders 100 of these to sell, they'll get 4 of these to sell as well. Right. So that's how it works. So they are rarer. You don't know how rare until you know the ultimate print run, which is never really something you can find easily.
Yeah.
You can get estimates on it, but the cover, it looks really cool. I've never seen, an official Wolverine. I don't know if they did it when they did the amalgam verse, but that was, I think they meshed them up. Darkclaw, his name was. They meshed up Wolverine and Batman together, called him Darkclaw. He had a book for a little while, but this is a pretty badass cover. So if you're looking for one of these, try to go to Big Time Collectibles.
There are none.
There might not be any left by the time you see this, but that's where I pre-ordered it. And then there was another one where Batman's holding up batarangs and showing Deadpool's reflection in them. That's the old Wolverine book Hulk. Where with the Wolverine and Hulk book, right? I think that might be the most homaged book of all time. So I was like, I'm not going to get that one. There's too many. They hit that well just one too many times with that cover. And then wait till you hear this.
Oh, really?
Wait till you hear this, right? Paul, Sector, our good friend, Sector 2814. Did I get that right?
You might be off a sector.
Am I off a sector?
It's a completely different sector. That's the bad neighborhood.
I was off one sector, 2815. Yeah, 2815. Sector 28, Paul from Sector 2815, he alerted me that there is going to be, in October, Dynamite is coming out with a new Supernatural series.
Comic book?
Comic book.
Oh.
Yes. How many can I put you down for?
Doesn't...
What?
Yeah, I mean...
What do you mean,
like
no?
a television show.
But you can read more supernatural stories.
That's not real.
What do you mean it's not real?
I want to see the guys. That sounded weird.
That's okay. That's okay.
Fine if you're
it's
in,
no
that's fine.
problem.
But I like the show.
I'm glad you're coming out of your show. I'm glad you're opening up. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. That's what we're here for. We're here for healing and truth. But this is cool, man. It's going to be more supernatural stories. I think you should read this.
I don't read.
But look, this is one of the covers. Look, it's a photo cover.
Okay.
Look.
It's a little weird now.
It's getting weirder?
Yeah, no, it's getting weird. Yeah. I'm happy for them, but I'm probably not going to buy it.
Look at Dean's face in this cover. He's like, how much longer do I have to do this for?
Did they really take that picture?
I don't know. I don't know if this is like the official. This is what's on Bleeding Cool. I don't know if this is going to be the official cover for one of them. This is one of the covers.
It looks like something they did like 20 years ago.
Here's another one. Ooh, look, he's got a big sword. Looks a little anime-ish.
Yeah.
There.
They did an anime, I think.
They did?
Yeah.
Covers by Clayton Crane, David Cousins. Clayton Crane's one of my favorite. And a classic photo cover. You got to get the photo cover. What if you see them what if they come to MegaCon? You can get them to sign it.
I'm not getting a signature.
What? Why not?
I don't care about those things. I like when we went to see him. I like.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to meet him and get a signature?
No.
Why not?
I'd be nervous. Weird.
I would do it. Oh, you can come with me. You could sit by me.
Stupid to him?
You could just puke on the table.
Yeah, hey, love your show. I go.
You could just say, hey, respect your work. Sign this.
I want to get into the business. How do I start?
Ask him for tips. So if I wanted to get into demon, they'd probably laugh at that. So if I wanted to get into demon hunting, as an aspiring demon hunter,
throw a bag of salt on the counter. I go, this is what I got so far.
Security. Although at MegaCon, security, not easy to get security.
Didn't look great. No.
You'll be fine.
There's way too many people. Did you see any security at MegaCon?
You can see them here and there.
Near the escalator, there was like one girl.
Yeah, man. Okay, you know what? I'll buy a few of these, and then I'll rent them to you for a good price. I'll make you a fair deal. A lease. I'll lease them to you.
Lease.
Yeah, a little bit. Just don't return them sticky, okay? I'm just not going to take back sticky pages. All right, I'm not going to do it. Okay, if it's soiled, it's sold. All right.
It should say that in the story, in the comic story. Did you catch any of the All-Star game? The baseball All-Star game?
I didn't. I was watching Mindhunter. I didn't even realize.
I was deep in the serial killers.
I was so deep. I shut it off. I'm like, I missed the home run derby. And then the next night, I missed the game.
I missed work.
Yeah, I did. I missed it. And I felt bad afterwards, but I heard it was ended in like a weird way.
Well, they did two different things.
Oh,
they had the robot umps. They tried them out.
Right.
And they did something called a swing off.
Yeah, like at the end of soccer with penalty kicks.
Similar. So you get each team gets 3 players they can choose from the team. And each of the 3 get 3 swings.
3 swings each.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and the home team goes last, so they know what they have to do. And whoever has the most home runs at the end,
that wins the game.
Winner.
That's
instead
fun.
of extra
It's
innings.
the All-Star game. Who cares?
But they're talking about maybe doing that.
No, we can't do that in a real game.
Is that better than
that's bad.
extra innings? That's the guy on second?
I mean, the guy on second is fine for regular season. They don't use it in the playoffs.
Oh, they don't?
No, they don't use the guy on second in the playoffs. I think it's okay for the regular season because I don't want these teams up till 2, 3 in the morning. And sometimes with baseball, a game can go on 16, 17, 18 innings. I remember as a kid, there was this Mets game that went on for like 18 innings.
Every Yankees-Red Sox game was 4 hours.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. There's too many games. It's too taxing. I don't want the players on my team up till 2, 3 in the morning and then have to play the next game. I think it's fine for the regular season to put a guy on second and just get the game done with, right? But in playoffs, World Series, no, they don't use the guy on second, and they shouldn't use anything stupid like a home run swing off. That's really comical for a real game.
Yeah, it's fun.
No. I'm vehemently against that.
Vehemently
against that. Yes, I would not want that in a real game. But then it meant something.
There's a tie. If they're tied at the end, you go into a sudden death swing off.
Fine for exhibition, All-Star game, thing like that. That's fun. Not for a real game. No, absolutely not. I will not stand for it. I will not stand.
You don't
for
get a vote. Well, they also did the automated ball strike, the ABS.
How did that work in the All-Star game?
It went. The AL went 3 for 3, and the NL went 0 for 1.
Okay, so 3 for 4 overall.
Right. So 3 things got overturned.
Right.
And
good
in a game. If there's
listen, that's inevitable.
Yeah.
All right, that is very much like Thanos. It is inevitable. That is going to happen. There will be implemented probably as early as next year.
And it was quick. The pitch came. You tap on your head.
Right.
And they go to the system.
I'm thinking John Boy is going to hate it though because it's going to take away a lot of his material.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't argue it.
You can't argue. It's over quick. Yeah. No more horse shit. No more lip reading.
That's a big part of the game.
It's a big part of the game. Yeah. Although, I mean, he is thriving still with replay in the game now.
Yeah.
So
I think he's doing fine.
Yeah, he's doing
right.
Fine. Right. He'll be okay.
He's newly doing fine.
We don't have to worry about John Boy. He'll be okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it was interesting though. I'd like to see. I mean, they should keep the swing off of the All-Star game. I think it's fun.
All-Star game's fun. Do whatever the hell you want in the All-Star game. It means nothing. It's just an exhibition where you're supposed to be able to watch your favorite players.
Right.
Yeah, and do some fun stuff. It was always been like a lighthearted thing. People take some of like Randy Johnson throwing behind guys, things like that. It's supposed to be fun.
Light the ball on fire.
Right, there you go. Right. Where's Fox when you need him? Right.
Light the batter on fire. Let's step it up.
Let's put Matt Stone and Trey Parker in charge of the All-Star game and see where they go with it.
Yeah. Like I said, landmines on the bases. Right. Let's pep it up. There's this thing called the gold card in baseball. So,
like a baseball card?
It's like after 8 years, a major league player gets a gold card. It allows them to go to any stadium in the USA, and they'll give them the best 2 tickets available in the stadium.
Wait a minute, while they're still playing?
Yeah, after 8 years in the majors.
After you're just a player of any type.
Yep.
And you've played 8 years in the majors, they give you a gold card pass.
Right.
So that you can go to any stadium.
Them and one guest into any regular season game for life.
But if you're playing, when would you have time to go watch a baseball game?
Well, you have to have 8 years in. Some people aren't playing after 8 years. You just have to have 8 years in.
Oh, you mean it's for life?
It's for life.
Oh, it's for life.
Once you've gotten 8 years.
Once you've played 8, why 8 years? That's kind of a weird number.
That's what they chose.
They chose 8 years. Were you involved?
No, I was going for 7. Going for 8. I was vehemently against 8.
That's kind of a weird number.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. They must have.
So if you play 8 years as a major leaguer, what if you get sent down and then you come back up? Like, does it have to be 8 years straight?
I didn't go that deep.
See, these are the details I need when you tell me these things. I need details.
Yes.
Don't patronize me either. I can tell when you're doing it.
Okay, no. Which one do you want?
All right, you still feel like you're patronizing me. So after 8 years, now you for life can go to any baseball game you want ever. Free hot dog?
It does not say free hot dog.
Does not say free hot dog?
No. They can afford the hot dog.
Nachos?
No, just the cheese. You get 10
free side of cheese?
You get 10 seconds under the machine.
Wheeze the juice?
Yeah. Wheeze the juice. No, wheezing the juice.
It says they can walk up to the box office, show their card, and give them the best 2 tickets available.
That's cool. I want to see what it looks like. Does it have their picture on it?
No, it's like a gold. I think I've seen it. It's
like an American Express gold card or something?
It's probably heavy.
Right, probably made of metal.
Stupid, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it was Kristen Yelich was talking about it on a podcast.
Where did this come from?
It's always been around.
Oh, it's an old thing?
It's older. I mean, it's not brand new.
This is not brand new?
This has been around.
I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, I don't think it's something they talk about.
Can you hand this gold card to somebody else? Can somebody else use this gold card? Does it have biometrics
Probably got your name. I don't think so. I think it's got your name on it.
Why don't you know the details I want? Does it have hair samples?
It's also, you can use it at any Dave & Buster's. You can play any machine. One machine. So the Emmys just came out, the nominations.
I saw a couple of
some snubs.
Well, there's always some snubs.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't nominate. It's not
everybody should get an
award.
award.
Participation trophy.
Why not? Everyone gets one. Give them out.
Andor got nominated, I think, for best drama.
Yeah.
Right. It got best drama. Did it get also, I think, costuming and
it got some of the ones no one
cares
about.
Yeah, it got those. right. The ones that Star Wars always wins. Yeah. But it is up for best drama. I'm surprised that Diego Luna did not get nominated for best actor, though.
Yeah, I think the show was better than, I think the show overshadowed the actors almost.
Maybe it did. No, but okay, what about Skarsgård? How did he not get nominated? Did he?
Yeah, again, I think the writing,
that's a travesty.
Was he better than who was nominated?
Well, I mean, you have Zach Cherry in Severance. I think he's much better as good as he is.
Yeah.
Better than him. Walton Goggins in The White Lotus, as good as he is, better than him. Mm-hmm. Jason Isaacs, better than him. Jason Marsden, better than him. Better than Sam Rockwell. Better than close there. That now you have Trammell Tillman, in Severance. That I think is on par. They're right there with each other. And then John Turturro, better than John Turturro in Severance. He's
3
better.
Severance in one.
Yeah, a lot of Severance, a lot of White Lotus. Skarsgård is literally better than 6 of the 7 nominees here. How did Skarsgård not get nominated? I want an investigation launched into this nominating committee of why Skarsgård is not nominated for this award.
I love Rockwell.
Rockwell's great. Rockwell, he's good in everything.
He just plays himself in everything.
He just plays himself. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's got that, you never quite know if he's going to make you laugh or slice your throat. Right. He plays crazy.
I think he's like that in real life.
Right.
Too.
Yeah. He's excellent. He's really, really good. But not having Skarsgård in this it nullifies the entire category. I don't care who wins because it should have been Skarsgård. And that's all there is to that.
The studio came up big.
The studio cleaned up. We're gonna get
someone's gonna win.
Sal Saperstein is going to win an award somewhere.
I'm glad it's getting recognized.
Hollywood, you can always count on Hollywood for one thing. They love shit about themselves. Anytime someone makes a TV show or a movie about Hollywood, it gets nominated.
Narcissism,
right. But this actually does deserve it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It is that amazing. Yeah. So they deserve all the awards they get. Sal Saperstein should get every award that he's nominated for.
He's not going to win, I don't think.
I don't think he'll win because you got Harrison Ford in there, and he deserves it. Yeah. Harrison Ford in Shrinking is phenomenal.
He might get it just because of
people will say he's just getting it because he's old, but he deserves it though.
He does.
I mean, this is some of the best. I think this might be the best pure acting that Harrison Ford has ever done in his life is on this show. Yeah, I know that's saying something, but I think this is the most vulnerable you've ever seen him. Yeah, and he's hysterical. Like you get to see his comedy timing. Like really, he's really good at comedy.
Right. And he's playing a disease too.
Yeah, right. He's got a disease. You show his vulnerability. Yeah, didn't he cried in an episode?
Yeah.
He's excellent in this. So he deserves it, I think, above everyone else. And I think Andor, wouldn't you give it to Andor for best drama?
Yeah, I think you have to. It's up against the Penguin.
Penguin is in there. You got The Diplomat. You got The Last of Us. You got Paradise, The Pit, Severance, Slow Horses, and White Lotus.
Severance.
I've seen most of these.
Severance? God.
I'm going.
How do you choose that?
I know. I'm going Andor over Severance. It's
really?
by a hair. Yeah. By a hair. I'm going Andor over Severance. It's just Andor is just so powerful. Yeah. Whereas Severance is like, wow, that's messes with my mind a lot.
Yeah.
But I think about Andor a lot. Andor to me is like the Roman Empire. But Andor, I think about it all the time.
Andor's got all that other material to kind of back it up. Like it's from Star Wars. You know what I mean? So like it's kind of got a bit of an advantage.
I see what you're saying there, but you had to take Star Wars and make it the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like in the history of the genre, you made it the most, you gave it the most weight.
Yeah. But Severance is just coming, completely original.
If you were just saying best originality, I would say Severance wins.
Yeah.
But I'm
you got to put it all in there.
I'm putting it all together. So I'm talking about writing, dialogue, acting. I got to give it to Andor. Yeah, with Severance right behind it.
I think I'd give it to Severance.
Yeah?
I love both, but neither of us have a vote.
Neither of us have a vote, so we're wasting our time.
Best comedy? The studio, I think.
I bet you The Bear is going to win again.
Why?
Which I don't even understand why that's in the comedy. I mean, there are funny parts in it, but it's not like a comedy.
How does the studio get that many nominations and not win Best Comedy?
If it's up to me, I'm giving it to the studio because of just how brilliant it is, how it makes you laugh every other second, but also it like really uncovers like a lot of the bullshit that goes on with Hollywood in a very, very funny way. You know, so I would give it to the studio. I hope they're listening here. I think someone better be taking notes. I mean, this is good shit we're giving out. We're handing out here. What about us? We have nominations coming up for the Comic Book Community Awards. Yes. Did you know that, everyone? Everyone go to the Comic Book Community Awards. I'll put the URL down here. Did you go on and nominate us?
Of course I did. I'm voting for anyone else.
I voted for somebody else.
Did you? Loser. I voted for us in things that we don't even belong in.
If you have not already, please go to the link and put our name in the viable categories if you like us. And if not, just do it.
Even if you don't
just
like
us.
Just
do it anyway. What's it cost you? It doesn't cost you
don't
anything.
Don't be a bitch.
Yeah, don't be a bitch. Make us happy. Yeah. We're not happy. We're not happy people. Yeah.
This won't probably make us happy either, but
this is Dave's well-being is on the line, okay? Nominate us or it's your fault, okay? Nominate us or it's your fault.
And now I have to go through it.
No pressure. So the last thing I want to talk about, did you see that this thing came out from poll results came out from this thing called Date Psychology? I don't know if it's just a website or a magazine or something. They polled people about what are the most and least attractive hobbies for a man to have.
Yeah.
2 women, right? Number 1 with a bullet is comic books.
Loser.
What makes it even funnier is the things that are below it.
Crime.
Okay. Comic books with 33.6%. It takes the gold, right? Then you have cosplay, debating, drinking. A woman would rather be with an alcoholic than a comic book collector.
Well, at least they're fun. For a little while.
Something called MTG. I don't even know what that is.
Oh,
it's Magic the Gathering.
How is that not number 1?
Magic the Gathering card game is not as bad as comic book. That's sexier. Magic the Gathering sexier than comic books. We have anime, makeup, crypto, cigars, clubbing. Clubbing is sexier than comic books. Just marijuana in general. At least you're going right. You're going out somewhere.
Yeah, you're social.
Clubbing, marijuana, Funko Pops, arguing online. Like that's a hobby. Why is that even a choice?
Who did
arguing
this?
Online? Yeah, like what is this?
I think this is rage bait, this stuff. I don't even think it's a real thing.
Porn is all the way down at the bottom. Porn is sexier than everything we just said. That's okay. That's better than comic books and cosplay debating.
How could drinking and clubbing not be together?
Right?
Who's doing one without the other?
They kind of go hand in hand. Gambling is less than comic books.
At least you're making money.
Gambling is sexier than comic books. Okay. And then you have the list of the most attractive hobbies. Number 1, 98% reading. Oh, you're screwed. You are so screwed.
Reading.
You won't even read a supernatural comic book.
Reading's stupid.
Followed by foreign languages. Playing an instrument. Finally, one I actually agree with.
Sure,
like playing an instrument can be like, that's a cool thing. I wish
Well, it depends on the instrument too, right? The flute's not getting.
Record. I can play hot cross puns with the best of them, dude.
You're not getting laid playing.
I am so good at hot. You should hear my hot cross puns. They're amazing. You don't get them for free though. I charge for that.
Oh no.
Yes. And my accordion is killer. Accordion actually looks really difficult. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with the accordion. A lot of buttons and pressing back and forth. Yeah.
Guitar is, fine.
And then you have ones that are like, okay, cooking, woodworking, that's sexy apparently. Painting, writing, gardening, swimming, photography. Oh, that's something I used to do.
So you used to be. I used to be
attractive. Well, I'm done. I'm married with a kid. It's done. It's fine. I used it for what it's worth. It had its. That's it. Now I'm into the comic book where it doesn't matter anymore.
That's what you do. You lure him in with the photography.
Right.
then you bring out the comic books. Gotcha.
The classic bait and switch.
Son of a bitch.
She fell for it, the big dummy. Showed her all that cool photography. And then 5-10 years in, want to check out my comics? Never saw a camera again.
Too late.
Hiking, archery, blacksmithing.
What is that? I mean, when was this done? In the 1300s? Blacksmithing.
When was this Paul Bacon blacksmithing?
Milk churning.
Hey, baby, want to see me make a sword?